Now, Chairperson, we are moving to the Department of Home Affairs insofar as it relates to the institutions of higher learning. We do have a proclamation on Home Affairs, and then it deals with the issuance of permanent residence permits, corporate visas, business visas, critical or exceptional skills work visas, study visas, retired persons visas, and so forth. But in essence, we'll be focusing on the exceptional skills visas as well as then the study visas. We're also looking at any irregular, unlawful, and improper conduct by the department officials as well as other persons that may be linked with them. Chairperson, our findings thus far, they have revealed that there is the use of fraudulent supporting document by foreign nationals in their applications in the form of letters confirming their registrations with different institutions of higher learning. They also, with that, submit fraudulent medical certificate, fraudulent radiologist certificate, and medical aids membership. So there are also fraudulent verifications of criminal records. We also found evidence pointing to criminality, Chairperson, and we referred the evidence to the NPA to consider the instituting criminal proceedings. We also found evidence pointing to misconduct on employees of the department, and we referred that evidence to the department, and the department is also implementing corrective action in respect of those ones. Chair, we also, in terms of our findings, revealed that foreign nationals, they will obtain study visas on the strength of submitting fraudulent documents, and these documents will be university admission letters. And also the department's adjudicators, when they are adjudicating these matters, they fail on a number of them to verify, and or they will overlook these fraudulent documents that are submitted for permits. Thereafter, our investigation has revealed that the foreign nationals, Chairperson, they do not attend to any of the prospective colleges or universities. We've interviewed some members and we have held interviews with the university, and they do not have any record of the foreign nationals having studied in these universities. Instead, what they do after getting then the study visas, they open businesses that at least give them access to money, and then they pay officials of the department large sums of monies with regard to then there's temporary or permanent resident permits. Chair, we also established that some applicants who submitted letters of acceptance purported to be from universities are not registered, as already alluded. Some institutions are not even registered institutions with the Department of Higher Education. Some institutions, Chairperson, are not even existing. And then upon expiry of the study visas, most of the foreign nationals, they will apply for change of statuses to either other temporary visas, e.g. they will use the retired visas or visitors visas to continue staying in the country. Then upon the expiry of the study visas, some foreign nationals, they will remain in the country without any visa. They will just stay without any permit, Chairperson. Chair, in the study visa syndicate, we've identified a syndicate that's operating in this area. Our investigation points to a coordinated study visa fraud system inside the Department of Home Affairs, where corrupt officials helped approve applications backed by fake acceptance letters. So some letters are so fake that, you know, if they were exercising some kind of care, they would have identified that these were fake acceptance letters. The process, Chairperson, is treated like a marketplace where applicants were fast-tracked through the inside contacts. Monies were paid to officials and or their businesses or their spouses in that process. The flow of money will be through EFT, Chairperson, cash send, or this ATM deposit, the cash deposit that will be sent via ATMs. The modus will be these fake acceptance letters that will be coming from colleges or universities, of which some are not even existing. And then applications will be pushed through WhatsApp channels within officials, where they will be sending each other reference numbers of then the application for them to push the processes. And bribes will be paid, already alluded, through cash or e-wallets or the accounts linked to the officials in Home Affairs. We've made some serious observations, Chairperson, and these observations, we have shared them with the department for them to at least strengthen their internal controls in line of then what we have found as part of our investigation, where there is fraudulent usage of doctors' certificates or radiologies, fraudulent use of the proof from the universities, fraudulent use of medical aid certificates, the issuance of blank corporate visas, which is open to manipulation or fraud. So by the department. There's also lack of monitoring after issuance of the visas. If it's a temporary visa, it's got a time limit. Nobody monitors then the process, what happens after. We also identified fraud to obtain passport for use in foreign countries to commit crimes as well, Chairperson. And there's also swapping or manipulation of the DNA to favor foreign nationals to obtain permanent residence. This, Chairperson, we have not investigated because it's outside our mandate. Therefore, it will require new proclamation. Then as part of the observations, again, there are lack of guidelines to adjudicate on retired visas. There's abuse of retirement visa process, where a 21-year-old foreign national will apply for a retired visa in South Africa. So the requirement is only a 35,000 Rand proof of income. And in these instances, Chairperson, foreign nationals will use the same bank account as a proof that they do have 35,000 Rand proof of income for them to apply for a retired visa in South Africa. There's also use of bank statements by pastors and foreign nationals to obtain these visas. The asylum permits that are used as a conduit to obtain these permanent resident permits, Chairperson. And after that, then they subsequently apply for citizenship. There's also, we've observed that there's use of PA's email addresses by senior officials to facilitate the asylum seekers processing the process of application. There's also lack of integration in the system of border management and movement. And then there's also suspicious business partnership with the foreign nationals on questionable visa status. Then this is prevalent in the mining sector, Chair. So, Chairperson, we have, in line with this, we have referred 7 disciplinary matters to the Department of Home Affairs. The reason there is a small number in terms of disciplinary referrals is because there are, in total, nationally, 11 adjudicators that are adjudicating these processes. So that then explains then the number, which is now 7. We have referred 278 matters to the NPA, in respect of then some of the foreign nationals. We have made systemic recommendations to the department. We have closed 111 investigations, and then we have 205 administrative referrals. This is where we have referred to the department for the department to at least start the process of revocation of the study visas and the deportation of the foreign nationals. Chairperson, the next slides then will deal with the finalized matters. We've already agreed, Chairperson, that the information in terms of the finalized matters was provided for information purposes. I will then move to then just the challenges. Generally, we've got generic challenges, Chairperson, that we have already spoken to in terms of our observations in the investigation. But in terms of the Chemical Industries Education and Training Authority, we have these risks and challenges. There are no proper archiving or record-keeping processes in terms of documents. There are no signed policies. There are no proper or signed job profiles for officials. The minutes of the committees or board meetings are not signed or properly kept. And the same officials are part of various committees, as already alluded by Mr. Bulwana. The BEC and the BAC is just the same group of colleagues. In terms of the University of Fort Hare, there were payments that were made, Chairperson, prior the services being made to the department, to the university. There was also poor contract management resulting in extensions of contracts. There's general non-adherence to SCM processes, and invoices are not supported by documents. And the sundry accounts versus creditors accounts departments have different conflicting policies, which then aids some of the officials to do wrong. There are inflated prices by service providers and nobody's monitoring this one. There's also poor record keeping, hence we ended up getting documentation from the service providers themselves. Then in terms of our concluding remarks, Chairperson, the SIU continues to make various systemic recommendations to the institutions towards addressing identified gaps within the institutions. The SIU undertakes to accelerate the finalization of ongoing investigation, and we remain committed to our constitutional mandate to investigate serious administration, corruption, and related irregularities. Chairperson, with your permission, we will pause here and allow then the committee to pose questions. Thank you.
No, thank you very much. That was the presentation from the SIU. The DG was lobbying me that after he saw the presentation of employment and labor, he's asking that we allow employment and labor to present first, and then they will come after. I did not ask him for reasons why. He wants it to be done that way. So if we can have employment and labor, those will be presenting. Maybe if we can come somewhere here so that we have access to the cable. Employment, are you? Yeah. Yeah, you need to plug. You do have a laptop, Musna? Yeah. You can present from there. Just one person can come here. Yeah. You can continue in the meantime if you know what's gonna come. Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. We were still engrossed by the SIU investigation and we were taken a bit off guard, but it's okay. Chair, we are going to be presenting from the department's perspective. We'll be looking into the financial year 2025-2026. So what Dr. Ntswaki Mamashele is going to present is an analysis of reports that we get from institutions that are designated on a yearly basis. So she's going to provide us with an analysis thereof. And thereafter, Advocate Msiza is going to take over. His presentation is going to focus specifically on the work that we did through our inspection and enforcement program to go to institutions of higher learning and look at their compliance, in particular when it comes to compliance with Employment Equity Act. Chair, in your opening remarks, you alluded to the Employment Services Act that talks, Section 9 thereof talks to the appointment of foreign nationals. And we'll try, because we've seen the interest of the committee is more on the employment of foreign nationals. So we'll try in our presentation to cover that angle as well. And I also took interest, Chair, when you spoke about Ekaya, and you mentioned the fact that you picked up that there were structural integrity issues. And I think in your talk you also mentioned that it would be interesting and desirable for the Department of Employment and Labor maybe to extend our services to that. We'll be happy to do that. From an occupational health and safety perspective, we do have the competence and the mandate to regulate buildings in the country, and we look at structural integrity. So we'll be happy to get a list of those that you require as being part of what you should look at, and we can do that. So, Chair, that said, I'm going to hand over to the presenters. I hope that Dr. Mamashele, you are ready.
Yes.
And then we asked how much time we've got from the Secretariat, and it was indicated that we've got 30 minutes. So we'd like to confine ourselves as much as possible to the time allocated. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Inspector General and Chairperson and honorable members. I'll start the presentation to give the latest employment equity status of the education sector as a whole vis-a-vis the representation of foreign nationals in the 26 public universities. Last year when we addressed this portfolio committee, we requested that we should also provide the data set that informs the graphic representations that we presented last year. But this presentation will just focus on the latest employment equity reports that were submitted by designated employers that operate in the education sector, which is inclusive of the 26 public universities, and then look at the actual workforce profile of the 26 public universities as they submitted their reports to the Department of Employment and Labor between 1 September 2025 and 15 January 2026. Chairperson, I need to emphasize that the cutoff date for this data that we are presenting here was the 31st of August 2025. The committee will remember that all designated employers that employ 15 and more employees are required to submit on an annual basis their employment equity reports to reflect how they are actually progressing in transforming their own institutions. You'll see that in 2025 reporting period, Chairperson, there were 309 reports received, which were quality reports received from the whole education sector. And there were 26 quality reports received from the 26 public universities. These are inclusive of universities of technologies, and this excludes the private universities, private colleges, and it also excludes public TVET colleges because the TVET colleges reports under the Department of Higher Education. And the data reflects that out of the whole total workforce reported in the education sector, the 419,111 employees in the education sector, 2.1% of those employees are actually foreign nationals in the educational sector. And in the public universities, you'll see that there are many foreign nationals. Although the public universities, as at 31 August 2025, the workforce was 95,685. 6,777 of those are foreign nationals. We are talking here, these people actually are employed for 3 months and more months and years. So 7.1% of those are actually foreign nationals. Chairperson, we thought that it's important to respond to a request that you made last year when we are presenting at this portfolio committee, that we should give you the total data set with true figures and percentages as reported by the the institutions that are in the education sector and the public universities. So in this data set, you'll see that we're giving you the whole total workforce per occupational level, starting from top management up to unskilled level, but also zooming in, Chairperson, into the temporary employees that are employed in the education sector. I just want to zoom into the temporary employees, Chairperson, because these are employees that come in to relieve people that are on sick leave, that may have actually been on maternity or have actually been on incapacity leave. These are employees that are employed for less than 3 months, as defined in the Labor Relations Act and also in the Employment Equity Act. But of great concern here is that in the education sector, out of the 40,989 employees that are employed on a temporary capacity, 6.7% of those are foreign nationals. And one wonders what kind of a skill are they bringing in the education sector. And if you look from professionally qualified to top management, these are strategic positions, and that's where you find a number of foreign nationals sitting in middle management to top management in the education sector. And a similar trend can also be observed when you look into the 26 public universities. From top senior professionally qualified level, you'll find that the footprints of foreign nationals that are sitting here are higher than 3%, if not 5%. But also when you look into the temporary employees, those that are less than 3 months, you'll find that out of the 23,488 employees that are on temporary work in the universities, 12% of those are foreign nationals. Given the high level of unemployment in this country, you wonder exactly what are these foreign nationals bringing in the 26 public universities. And Chair, we took liberty to zoom and do a comparative analysis of the education sector vis-a-vis the 26 public university workforce profile. And at top management, these are very critical positions in the universities because they provide leadership, vision, and they take strategic decisions. And you see in top management in the universities, you find a little bit of 1.6% representation of foreign nationals. And in the whole sector, then it's sitting at 2.5%. But if you look at the designated groups, which are black people, women and persons with disabilities, although we are zooming into population groups, you'll see that African and colored population groups are the least represented at top management in the education sector and also in the 26 public universities. And the Indian and white population groups are actually the preferred population groups to be sitting at top management, which is executive level positions in this regard. And a similar trend, if you look at senior management level, if you don't have enough pool of black people in terms of Africans and colored at this level, then it means automatically in terms of succession planning, when positions become available at top management, then you are likely to actually promote the Indian and the white population groups. And if you zoom in here, also, it's worrisome that in the 26 public universities, the representation of foreign nationals is actually more than 2 times the representation of foreign nationals in the whole education sector. They are sitting at 16%. And again here you'll see Africans are far below 50%, and the colored group as well, they are below 7%. However, again, the Indian and the white population are actually above if you look at their demographics in terms of the economically active population. And Chairperson, it's worrisome that we have foreign nationals that are sitting at senior management. And the likelihood is that when opportunities arise at executive level of the universities, they are the first to get promoted to those positions. I know internationalization, that's the argument that is used, Chairperson. You alluded to that earlier in the morning, that internationalization is used as an excuse not to look at our local people, our South Africans that are qualified. And if you look at professionally qualified level, it's middle management level. These are people with postgrads, masters, and some of them also have doctorates. And you see that in the education sector, we have at least above 53% Africans with masters and doctorates at this level, and honors degrees. In the public universities, above 40%, and then you see the colored are coming up at 11% and then 7.7%. But look at the representation of the foreign nationals in the university. It's above 12%, 12.8%, almost 13%. And in the whole education sector, it's 4.4%. Actually, in the universities, there are 3 times more foreign nationals than in the whole education sector. And in this area, if you don't get your professionally qualified level correct, and also your senior management, there's no way that you'll change the heads of the universities in this country, because people that get an opportunity to be promoted to the executive levels are likely to be those foreign nationals that are sitting in most of the universities. And Chairperson, I thought I'll close there, but it's a great concern that although the universities are creating graduates year in, year out, those graduates seem not to be absorbed in these universities, but they are their own products. I thank you, Chair.